Imagine living your life after 50 and feeling energized and excited about your future. Welcome to the Women in the Middle podcast, the podcast for women who are ready to figure out what they want and create the life they deserve. Here's your host and master certified life coach, Susie Rosenstein.
Hey there, welcome back to the podcast, Women in the Middle. I'm your host, Susie Rosenstein, your master certified coach and midlife mentor, and I'm so glad to be here with you again for this week's episode, which is all about the top 12 amazing reasons to hire a midlife coach to get unstuck. Who wouldn't like to get unstuck? Make your next chapter better. How about easier? Sound pretty good, right? Oh my gosh, there are plenty of bumps along the way, that's for sure. And in a weird way, it often feels like there's no warning or that you head right into this phase unprepared somehow, even though maybe you had 50 years to prepare. In fact, sometimes the whole midlife thing reminds me of breastfeeding. Remember when you read those books and finally started to feel a teensy bit confident that you knew what you were doing or were prepared? I remember even asking a girlfriend when I was pregnant, she had a newborn, if she would mind giving me an up-close and personal lesson. Like I was going to come over and get 6 inches from her breast and watch the baby latching on and everything, just so I could finally see what was going on and be completely prepared. Sometimes you feel like you're a grown-up and you are like totally rocking the whole adulting thing. You are on it. Everything's in alignment. You're feeling good. And other times you realize that you're more stuck and confused than ever before. This might hit you at the ramp up to a big midlife change, like when your first or last kid leaves the house, or a divorce or menopause, or maybe when you turn 50, or even when your parents need more help from you than before, maybe because of an injury or disease or something like that. There are so many things that can feel like a wake-up call, and you start to feel like, what is going on here? Or you may have blown past the big scary thing, and now that you're on the other side of it and you're thinking, oh my, now what? Things feel different than they used to. I'm in unfamiliar territory and I feel stuck and confused. That's what we're talking about today, making that stuck and confused phase a little better, a little easier, and way less stressful. But first, I want to let you know about something new that might interest you, especially if you've been wasting some time in a midlife career funk, or what I like to call a glorious spin about your career. If this is you, I can imagine that you would like to stop tolerating being stuck and unfulfilled and get more from your career. That's how I felt when I was stuck in my career from age 45 to 50. Yes, 5 years. It was so frustrating and painful to watch myself like that. And that's why I'm so excited to share that you can absolutely learn how to stop spinning and wasting valuable time and get excited about the way that you make a professional contribution in the world. What I'm saying is, you can get clear on your career. In fact, that's what I'm really talking about. You can stop tolerating stuck. You can start creating joy. And here's how. Clear on Career is an online group coaching program and community for professional midlife women who want to stop tolerating feeling stuck and unfulfilled and get excited about their lives again. It's a coaching program. This coaching program is perfect for you if you know there's more out there for you. You know you're wasting time being confused about what to do in your next chapter. You feel stagnant and know you're not reaching your potential. You want to make more of a difference in the world. Through Clear on Career, you work with a master certified life coach, that's me, and coach your way to understanding all the tools you need to finally figure out a couple of things. Why you're stuck, what you want professionally, how to make it happen, and how to create your career path forward. You'll learn my signature map process to give you the direction you need to get to that place where you're both content and genuinely excited about the way you're making your unique professional contribution. It can be so confusing because you used to love your job, but it's not like that anymore. Clear on Career will help you learn how to bust through the spinning confusion that's keeping you stuck by understanding the true power of your thinking and emotions. You'll be finally ready to move forward and understand your why, find your purpose and the fulfillment you're dreaming about so that you can feel proud of the way you're showing up in the world professionally. This is how you regret-proof your life. Now, you hear me talk about that all the time, and it's really true. Just imagine what it would be like if another decade goes by and you still haven't sorted this out. Even another year. Is that okay with you? So if you're listening to this episode in real time, the Clear on Career 13-week coaching program is starting soon. But whenever you're listening to this, you can always head over to my website, www.coachwithsusie.com, and click the coaching tab to get more information. Remember, life is too short to waste time feeling stuck. It's time for you to get clear on your career. Okay, speaking of getting help, you might not feel what you're experiencing in life right now in general is a midlife crisis. But the transition into this next chapter with all the things, aging, menopause, your career, your empty nest, your aging parents, all of it, it might be a little weird without help. Maybe a little bumpy, maybe uncomfortable, maybe even gruesome. Do you feel like it's gruesome? There's a lot going on. Whatever it is for you, it's new and probably a little different. It makes sense though, right? It's a transition. The definition of transition is the process or a period of changing from one state or condition to another. So going from something you know to something you don't know is a transition. You might remember being really good at planning your life and knowing what you wanted to do with clarity and conviction. Back in your 20s and 30s, probably. Remember that? In midlife, that clarity, I don't know, it's kind of elusive these days. And when you're not clear, it's common to spin and keep going around and around and around on certain thoughts about your situation that end up being really stressful and wasting a lot of time. You end up feeling really confused and almost lost sometimes, out of control. And sometimes just blah. It's like confused and blah. So many amazing midlife women want to start dreaming again about what's still possible for them, even now at their age and stage of life. They sense that there's more out there, but feel pretty unclear about figuring out this path forward. They can tell they want it though. Can you relate to what I'm saying? That's totally how I felt. I could tell I wanted it. It was like I sensed it, but I don't know. It just wasn't clear. I had no clue how to get there. That probably has something to do with why you're listening to the podcast and the reason we found each other in podcast land. You were probably looking online for something or searching in some way so that when you saw the Women in the Middle podcast pop up, it spoke to you and you clicked on it. And you know what? That's where a midlife coach can help. And the good news is that it's easier to find this kind of support and guidance now more than ever before. In fact, more and more life coaches have taken their businesses online and specialized in helping midlife women specifically. And of course, I just mentioned you found me here on a podcast. I'm your coach. Yes, you're getting some coaching in an earbud from a podcast. But it's some coaching for sure. It's not the full coaching experience because it's not back and forth. I'm asking you questions. I'm telling you stories. I'm guiding you to think about certain things, but I don't hear your response. I don't hear your answer, and I certainly don't read your mind. So I can't take the next step, which is to ask you specific questions based on your answers, based on your thinking, to help you get more perspective and see what's going on up there in your mind, to see how you're thinking and how it's related to what's going on in your life. It's a connection. And if you're a regular listener of the podcast, you know that what you think creates your feelings, and how you feel is what drives you to do stuff. And when you do stuff, you end up with some kind of a result in your life that proves the way you're thinking. So getting more perspective on what you're actually thinking is so powerful. So when you realize you're stuck and not creating an exciting life plan for yourself, that's no good. And when you realize it, I have some reasons I want to talk to you about why you should consider actually hiring a midlife coach so you can finally get going again. Like taking the next step and coaching with somebody. That's how you experience how to apply what you're learning here and go deeper. And as you know, I can make an excellent recommendation on who a great coach for you just might be. Okay, it's me. I know you figured that out, but if it's not me, there are lots of amazing midlife coaches out there who can help. So I just really want you to get help. I really want you to get help and stop spinning. You're wasting valuable time. So here are 12 reasons that you should consider actually hiring a midlife coach so you can unstick yourself. Number 1, you want to take better care of yourself. I don't know. Do you love what's going on in your life right now in terms of the way you're taking care of yourself, the way you're moving your body, the way you're exercising, your morning routine? Do you love how much you weigh? Do you like how much water you're drinking? Do you like the way you prioritize food and fueling types of food and play and travel and hobbies and passion projects and all the things? These are examples of classic self-care. So taking care of yourself, it just doesn't happen by accident. You can't just not pay attention to it and assume it's going to be alive and well in your life. So if you're not satisfied with the way you currently take care of yourself, you would really benefit from learning why and how to put yourself first. A lot of the time, you are not even on your own radar. Okay, number 2, you want to feel proud of yourself again. Pride is a pretty cool emotion, and you don't feel it as much as an adult as you did years ago. Remember, it was so much fun to feel proud of yourself when you were a kid. It's a good feeling, and it's one that's worth feeling again, more and more. Okay, number 3, you want to max your time. And what I mean by that is, in midlife, your sense of time can change dramatically from having enough time to running out of time, right? You always feel, it's very common to feel at our age that we're always running out of time. When you're stuck, before you know it, you can see that you're wasting time. I felt that way so much at my last job. I could just sense it and see it. It was kind of like I was having an out-of-body experience watching myself spin and be stuck and waste time. And it just doesn't help. You would much rather be making decisions based on what you thought was really important so that you can stop wasting time and start moving forward. Okay, number 4, you don't want to feel that your life is boring. Technically, you don't want to think that your life is boring, but it certainly usually comes with a negative feeling. So it's one thing to feel stagnant, but it's even worse to feel that you've got nothing cool going on. You know what I mean? When this feeling goes on and on because you're feeling stuck or not energized to think about fun ideas, it's really frustrating and it is super boring. You're going to be boring yourself. You know you're off. You know that you're not used to being like this. You usually, at least a while ago, used to have fun things to do. But I don't know. Nothing fun is going on these days. You might even think like it's just blah. Now, I know things are worse in the pandemic and you may not have travel plans or your typical cool things going on, but this is kind of bigger than that. It's like, do you know what fun, cool things you want to do in the next couple of years, not just in the next couple of months? That's what I mean. It might even feel like a midlife crisis sometimes. You're just not motivated to be adventurous and think outside the box and even plan something I don't know, I am saying cool, but it's like exciting. Are you thinking like that? Does this resonate with you? All right. I think it might. So number 5, your relationships matter to you. You know that you want to be more intentional about the important relationships in your life, but there's a problem. You don't know where to start or how to prevent this regret. Your family, your friends, your community, these people matter to you, but you see there's a disconnect and this part of your life is out of alignment. You want to fix it, but you don't know how. Number 6, confusion. It can be exhausting. Being stuck can really wear you down and absolutely poop you out. And it's not just for one night either. It's common to spend a lot of time spinning on the same thoughts over and over again, and the whole process can be time-consuming and, like I said, exhausting. The few times I've been in a spin, it has gone on and on. I'm getting so much better at it now, but that first giant spin lasted 5 years, which I know I say it a lot on the podcast. I honestly can't believe it. Every time I say it, I just can't believe it. But even last year, I got stuck in a spin on something for a year. A lot of times now, though, I can catch myself and I get frustrated really soon. And I'm like, oh, I got to make a decision. Because even if you make a decision and you know that you might have to change a decision or tweak the decision, making a decision is way better than not making a decision because it gets you out of confusion. Confusion stinks and, like I said, can be really exhausting. Okay, number 6, you want to contribute in a more meaningful way. When you don't feel fulfilled in your life, maybe that you're not living up to your potential, it often has to do with being disappointed in some way about the level that you're contributing in your career or in your volunteer life. The way that you make a professional contribution or the way that you make a difference in the world. So this is completely subjective, but I hear this all the time from my clients. They feel like they're just not, like I said, living up to their potential. So in your heart of hearts, you know what you're capable of, you know what you want, but when it's not happening, there is that disconnect. And then you feel like you're running out of time to contribute in this way that's supposedly important to you. And you can really feel like there's a potential regret brewing. Like if you don't do something about this and step up the way you're meant to step up and contribute the way you're meant to contribute, you know that you will be missing out on being as fulfilled and satisfied as you could be. You know it. Now, speaking of things that you know, here is number 7. You want to contribute in a more meaningful way. So when you don't feel fulfilled in your life, you know that you're not living up to your potential, that kind of a feeling. It often has to do with being disappointed in yourself at some level. And it's usually about the way you are contributing in your career or in your volunteer life at a higher level, at, like contributing in the world, making a difference in the world. And when you feel like you're running out of time to contribute this way because of all the midlife stuff, you can really feel that there's a regret brewing, that you might actually regret this because you know in your heart of hearts what you're capable of and what you really want. You know that you're missing out on being as fulfilled as you probably could be. Okay, so speaking of knowing something deep down, number 8, you know deep down there's more for you out there. And if you feel like you're not reaching your potential, then you got the memo. You sense there's more out there for you. And you know what? You're right. You can believe that there's more out there for you. You can believe that. And there's nobody that can argue with you. If that's what you think, that is so. And if you aren't curious about finding whatever it is that's more, you will likely have regrets. So again, you want to set the bar higher. And what happens is we go on for a couple of decades without thinking about that, where that bar is set. We get so focused on day-to-day life and starting our families and starting our careers and establishing ourselves professionally and financially that we just don't really think about this sort of thing for a while. It's very, very common. So where do you want to set that bar? What do you think you're capable of? How do you want to contribute? These are what these few points are talking about. Okay, number 9. This was a big one for me. You don't want fear to call the shots in your life. I'm talking about the emotion of fear. When you really think about it and get really, really honest with yourself, you might sense that fear is actually the predominant emotion that's keeping you stuck. Being afraid might be why you're making certain decisions. And the onus is on you really to decide, do you like the reasons that you're making these big decisions in your life for your next chapter? This took me a couple of years to figure out. When I was in that big 5-year stuck thing, I had no clue that fear was the emotion that was calling the shots. But to me, it felt like confusion. I was very disconnected from what was really going on in my brain and in my body. I didn't get it. So ask yourself, when did you become fearful? Have you always thought things that created this kind of fear for you? Or is this kind of a new thing? Only you know that, but the answer may not come to you right away. It might be something you just really need to think about. But the bottom line is, you got to think about it and you have to decide, is that okay? Is it okay with you for fear to be the reason that you're making certain decisions? Okay, number 10, you want to regret-proof your life. You notice that you're uncomfortable thinking you're not doing enough to help yourself prevent regrets. This is because you know there's more you can do. You clearly need more help and more skills to figure out your thoughts and get more perspective about what's going on in your brain and what your priorities in life are. One thing's for sure, you will regret having regrets, so it behooves you to do everything you can to reduce the likelihood that you're going to regret something. And number 11, you want more accountability. You don't love the idea that you say you're going to do something and you don't follow through. You may have noticed that you started to label yourself as someone who doesn't have her own back and who can't rely on herself. Does this resonate? Can you trust yourself to do what you say you're going to do? Maybe this isn't the type of person you want to be, so you want more accountability to make improvements here. And number 12, you want to be happy. If you don't make a change, nothing will change. It takes a lot to make a change. So maybe you've decided that you want next year to be different than this year, or maybe you want the next 5 years to look completely different, or maybe even the next few months. Whatever it is, if you don't see the results in your life that you really want for yourself, you have to take responsibility. You really do. If you want to be happier, you got to stop wasting time and think differently. How are you going to learn to do that? If you're not as happy as you want to be now, it's because of what you're thinking. So if you want to be happy, if you want to be happier, if you want to think of yourself as a happy person, it doesn't mean you're going to be happy all the time, but it's certainly something that can be a priority that you can raise your awareness about and that you can set as a goal to just think about more. How do you want happiness to be a part of your life? So, as someone who was in a 5-year time-wasting spin myself, I totally get it, and I know firsthand how useful it is to get help with clarity and forward momentum again. That's really what I wanted to point out to you, is that there are all kinds of reasons to get help. There are all kinds of reasons to get coaching. And these are 12 good ones to specifically seek out help in midlife. You're not alone, and what you're experiencing isn't unique to you, even though it feels like it. I know it can totally feel like it, but this is exactly what I can help you with. I specialize in working with midlife gals just like you. I know I can help you. The reason I know this is because I really trust my training, and I've coached hundreds and hundreds of women, midlife women, very much like you. Now you're thinking, Susie, you don't know me, but I know midlife women. And because I've coached so many and I've gotten feedback and I have women in my community and my groups, I get it. And one thing I've really learned, you're not alone. So of course, your specific flavor of a problem is unique to you, and all of your experiences together and the way you think about them, that's unique to you. But the problems that you're experiencing, other like-minded women at a similar age and stage of life to you are experiencing it in a similar way. Not the exact same way, but in a similar way. So I've got you. I know you. And I know I don't really know you, but I feel like I know you and I want to know you. I can help you. And I say that with confidence. A midlife coach will help you get the insight and perspective that you need about what you really want and why you might be resistant or fearful. You might be getting in your own way without even knowing why. That's typically what happens. So you will save so much time and mental exhaustion and feel the sometimes elusive shift towards more clarity and confidence about your future. You don't have to believe that the best is over in your life. What would it be like if you believed that your next chapter could be the most exciting one yet? Just imagine. That's what coaching together can help you with, developing this kind of mindset, one thought at a time. That's it for this episode. As you know, my focus as a midlife coach is to help you waste less time spinning and being afraid and doing all kinds of things that are keeping you stuck and not reaching your potential. All the things, including aging, empty nest, relationships, your career, being more compassionate with yourself, all of it. It's time to get excited about your life again. Remember, being the queen of your brain domain is the best way to be, and I am here for you. Learning the mindfulness concepts are one thing, but when it comes to applying the concepts, that's when you really benefit from coaching, and that's why you should join the Finally First Club. We are waiting for you. It's your one-stop shop, your home away from home for midlife coaching, community, and connection. And you can finally get that fresh perspective that will help you sail into your next chapter with a big smile on your face. So join us now at www.IamFinallyFirst.com. If you're excited to work on getting more clear about your career, head over to www.coachwithsusie.com and click on the coaching tab to get more information. For show notes and links, you can also head over to www.coachwithsusie.com. And to get a copy of my new book, 50 Ways to Celebrate Life After 50, check out Amazon or your favorite online bookseller, or go to www.50waystoCelebrate.com. Let's do this, ladies. It's time for you to put yourself first. Life's too short to waste time feeling stuck. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll talk to you next week.